The sterile laboratory echoed with Dr. Bella Vance's ragged breaths. Sweat plastered her dark hair to her forehead as she peered through the reinforced observation window. Inside, a distorted figure writhed in the pale green serum, a skeletal silhouette thrashing against the constraints of the containment field. It was Patrick, her research partner, lover, and now, a terrifying consequence of their ambition, they'd aimed for invisibility. A revolutionary formula that would alter light's interaction with human tissue. But somewhere between the theoretical equations and the harsh reality of human trials, something went horribly wrong. The serum worked. Patrick vanished, not just from sight, but from all physical interaction. But the man rematerializing in the tank was a warped reflection of his former self. His eyes, once warm hazel, were hollow black pits. His voice, when it came, was a raspy whisper that sent shivers down Bella's spine. Bella, it rasped, the walls vibrating with the sound. Help me, tears welled in Bella's eyes, blurring the image of the distorted figure. This wasn't Patrick. This was a monstrous echo of the man she loved. Yet, a sliver of hope clung to her. Maybe with adjustments, they could reverse the process. Maybe, days bled into a feverish blur of research and desperate attempts. Bella slept in snatches, the rhythmic hiss of the containment field a haunting lullaby. Her only companion was Dr. Mark Davies, a young geneticist brought in to consult. Mark, with his kind eyes and gentle demeanor, provided a much-needed anchor in the storm. One night, as Bella hunched over her computer, an unnatural silence settled in the lab. Panic clawed at her throat. The containment field flickered, then died. The silence was replaced by a wet, dragging sound coming from within the tank. Bella whirled around, heart hammering against her ribs. The tank was empty. Bella. Mark's voice broke the chilling silence. He stood by the door, his face a mask of terror. A cold dread settled over Bella. Patrick, or whatever he was now, was loose. The lab became a terrifying game of cat and mouse. Objects inexplicably moved, whispers brushed against their ears, the temperature plummeted. Sleep deprivation and fear gnawed at their sanity. Mark, increasingly paranoid, became convinced Bella was hiding something. The distrust gnawed at their fragile bond. One night, as Bella worked on a possible reversal formula, a guttural roar echoed through the lab. A vase shattered on the floor, showering her with shards. She scrambled back, heart pounding against her ribs. Then, a voice, barely a whisper yet dripping with malice, hissed into her ear, "Foolish girl. There's no reversing this." Bella spun around with a scream, but there was nothing there. Just a faint, sickly sweet smell of decay that hung heavy in the air. Mark burst in, his flashlight beam slicing through the darkness. "What happened?" he asked, his voice laced with suspicion. Fear choked Bella's voice. He was here," she stammered, pointing at the fallen vase. Mark's gaze followed her finger, his eyes narrowing. "Bella, are you hallucinating? We need to call security." Disbelief and a crushing sense of isolation washed over Bella. Even Mark didn't believe her. But she knew what was out there. Later that night, as exhaustion finally claimed Bella, she awoke to a suffocating pressure on her chest. Gasping, she fought to pull away, but something invisible held her down. Panic tore through her as she realized it was Patrick. His raspy voice filled her ears, close, predatory. "You failed me, Bella," he hissed. "But at least you'll join me in the endless dark." A primal scream ripped from Bella's throat. But there was no one to hear it. Mark, overcome by paranoia and sleep deprivation, had locked himself in his office, barricading the door. Trapped, suffocating, Bella felt her vision blurring. This was it. The end. Then, a sudden, terrifying silence. The pressure lifted. She coughed, gasping for breath. Her eyes fluttered open to see Mark standing above her, his clothes disheveled, face contorted in a mixture of horror and grief. "Mark," she rasped, her voice hoarse. He didn't answer. He simply pointed to Bella's computer screen. The reversal formula was open, half-written, with a final, chilling addition scrawled across the bottom in a familiar, skeletal hand. "See you soon, Bella."